Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to another airplane taking off right at the beginning of my video. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, airplanes. Oh, where are we today? Well, guys, we are still building the BMPT Terminator tank by Meng. Welcome to part 10. This is an unprecedented time that we're living in because I've never done a 10-part series building one model. So, here's a little bit of story of what happened to me on the weekend, okay? I got finished doing the duck egg green on the tank. And then the next day, I was going to start on the Russian green color, the dark green. That's really just this color, the same color as what the wheels. The tank is molded in this color. And I was going to video it. I was going to make a video of me doing my airbrushing, all the extensive skill and experience I have after spray painting the F-15, and now I'm doing a tank, so I'm a pro now, right? I know exactly how to airbrush, and I'm so great at it. Yeah. So I got everything set up, and I was going to do a video on Sunday. And I got about 2 minutes in, and my airbrush plugged up, and I started getting bubbling up in the cup, and that had not happened to me before, so I was like, WTF, why do I have bubbles coming up here? I've got the nozzle tightened down, everything's good. Well, it turns out the nozzle was plugged. So that turned into about a half an hour of cleaning it out, and finally putting in a mixture of paint that's going to work and not plug up my nozzle. And I finally got it done with a lot of tip drying, so a good hour or so to paint to get that on there, and then another half an hour or so of cleaning my airbrush. It was a big waste of time, and I really spent most of my Sunday painting and cleaning my airbrush. And I honestly spent more time cleaning it than I did actually using it. And I did finally got it done. And well, here's the result. Here's the two side skirts and the two little skirts that go above them. Okay, those are done. As you can tell, I've done panel lining too on it already. Here's our turret, our nice beautiful little turret. Looks nice and pretty. And here's the main upper hull. There we go. So if we put our turret on there, just like this, there we go. That's what we're looking at. So I'm finally at a stage where I can start doing some assembly. Yes, finally, after all that work. So I wound up, after doing the dark green, I wound up going over again with the duck egg green. And of course, because just to tighten it up and do a little bit more precision, exactly how I wanted the pattern to look everywhere. And of course, when I was painting the duck egg green, it was splattering out of my tip of the brush. And I was really just kind of ruining my paint job. And I don't know why it was. Well, I've since looked on YouTube and figured out some possible reasons why I was getting splattering. Yeah, I may have been using well, I guess my brush wasn't 100% clean, was one problem. What I've got on here, but that needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, so there you go. So I had some splattering, so then I had to, and of course I got some unfortunate splatters on the dark green with these tiny little dots of light green. So I had to go back over with the dark green again in a few areas. It was just a whole day of painting and then fixing my paint and then trying to get it fixed, and it was just normal. And I wound up, I just didn't record anything at all. And I really had the best intentions of getting a recording done so you guys could watch me paint. Although I know I don't normally do that. It was, yeah, it wasn't going to happen. It's just not in the cards. And so that's the way it is. So now that this is all painted, I can go back in the book and start assembling some of the things that it wanted me to do, but I didn't do because of the whole painting process. Okay, so we can go on the lower hull here, just doing a couple of test fitting. I am going to make a bunch of dirt, and I'm going to make this thing a bit dirty in here, like it's actually been rolling through some mud and stuff at some point. But with the front fenders on, it makes it kind of difficult to put the idler wheels in. So I'm just going to put them on right now so that they are there. And I don't have to worry about trying to just get it in under here and get it, because they just tuck just under here like this kind of thing. And then it's too hard to press them on because they've got polycaps on them, right? So I'm just going to do that right now. Get these guys on there, just like that. Okay, so those are on there. So this is pretty much ready. I just want to go through and make sure I haven't missed anything before I button this thing up together. So, careful. That's all. The headlights are on. Those pieces are all in. That's in. Fenders are all together. The engine exhaust is on. All that good stuff. We've got all these panels in the back here are all done. That's all together. These little guns in here are done. That's all good. All the boxes and stowage and stuff, that's all together. All those are on. Okay, so I think we can put the two halves together. I think that is the stage we're at. I believe that's our next stage, putting the two halves together. So our turret can just go out of the way. I did wind up putting some grease on the turret, and maybe I did this a little too far ahead of time, but I've got grease on there so that my turret can turn a little more freely. It's really sticky and stuck, and I'm going to have to put a little bit of grease on the vertical edge on the front here, because it's rubbing on this part here, and it just makes it not turn very smoothly. It likes to stick, and you got to use a lot of pressure. And maybe if this thing was bolted down, I wouldn't feel so bad putting so much pressure to turn it, but alas, it is not bolted down. So yeah, so let's glue this down. Finally, but this poor tank has been waiting so long to get assembled. Just going to do one last little dry fit here to make sure everything lines up and where everything's going to touch and where I'm going to need the glue. So it kind of sits inside those little channels. So I can put glue in there. Let's take these apart. It's like it dripped on here. There's nothing on my desk, although you saw me cleaning up some grease earlier. And now I've got, see, there's the detrimental part of doing the grease, because I dip my finger in it and then I touch the tank. But this is not grease, this is some kind of, I think this might be lubricant. from my airbrush, but how it got on my tank, I don't know. I had my tank nowhere near it yesterday. So anyway, I'm rambling. Okay, let's put some glue on this puppy. It goes right along this little channel here. So, and along the front here and on the back. So that's where I'm going to glue it. Okay. Get her lined up. And setting them. I believe we are in, and we're on, and we're done. In, on, and done. I'm just going to add some thin glue on there, just to make sure. Particularly along the sides, where it seemed like it was wanting to dry a little fast on me. So just make sure. And we are together. Finally together. Okay, so that's that. Now we've got a bunch of bits that need to go on the back here. That's a big thing. So now it's together finally, and this is done. Done, 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 done. Dun, 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 dun. Now they want to put the side skirts on, but they are assuming I've already got the wheels and the tracks on. And those are going to be like last. So my side skirts can just go away for now. Same with my missile launchers, because these guys are delicate and they just get in the way. So again, those guys can also go away for now. So we have the rope that goes on the back and its various hooks. So it's going to be attached with what looks like F23. So I gotta find my F in tree. F tree. F. It's M P D B E. Holy. M M E B E. Where's my F in tree? Oh, there. There they are. Okay. F tree. So F, and we need 23, and we need 2 of them. There we go. 1 and 2. Haven't finished this build like a good 90%. I'm seeing a lot of extra parts, like even these square panels here. What the heck are they for? Where do they go? There's no empty spots and no empty panels, but I've got 6 of these rectangular panels. That's interesting. Okay, so we've got to get our little nubs off of here. Okay. And we got to put them through put it through a loop on our rope, like so. And then this is going to go on the back in that spot there. So I'm going to first make sure that our hole is big enough to accommodate this little guy. Because if there's one thing I've learned on this kit, a lot of the holes are not machined big enough. Machined. They're not open. They're not sculpted. They're not molded big enough. They'll have a little bit of flashing in them. And this one is no exception. I can already see that on this one too. Okay, so let's test this again. Fits now, and fits in now. Good, okay. So, we want to glue that in the down position, and we're going to do that with the other chain too. Chain, rope, whatever you want to call it. So, we put a little loop on here, like this, and then hold it like that. Little dab of glue. In the hole. And then the cable fucks it up. Thank you. Get off of there. Try this again. Attempt number 2. Cable completely falls off. Thank you very much. Falls on the floor. Thank you again. Let's try your brother. Your brother is more cooperative. Maybe not. My brother hits the floor too. Now I can't see because I don't have my other glasses. There's one. There's 2. See, I'm hesitant to use the thin set because I don't want to accidentally glue the cable. But the cable's got to stop moving and fucking around and let the glue set. If it agrees and stays exactly where it is, we'll be okay. Okay, we are good. We're good to go right there. Now let's grab the other one. ready for glue. As long as I hold it perfectly still for a minute, it should be okay. Alright, there we go. Our cables are on. Now, do I want to leave it like that or just move on? They're not telling me where to route them on this part. They're telling me in the next part. Okay, and that's fine. But I'm going to need to just give it a minute or two for the glue to set before I really start manipulating these cables, because they kind of go and loop around to the other side, and there's a couple of anchor points that they do on the fenders, on the rear fenders here. So what they actually want me to do is take it, run this up like this and over here all the way across, and then loop it there. So that's the direction. So this one's already sitting in the right direction. It just needs to be looped across. So what I'm kind of tempted to do is hold on to the anchor while I manipulate this over to here. Now, because this is actual metal, it's got some tension to it, and it doesn't want to bend on its own. If it was string, it would be more easy to manipulate it, but that's okay. There's nothing really wrong with that. You just have to kind of pre-bend it. Like right here, I want to put a good bend in it, like that, and then bring it along. It's actually just a little too long. It's actually just a little too long, because now when I bring this back, it's not right. It's just not right. So I'm going to go like this. I want it hanging from the top, and it's going to go like that. Okay. So what are we using to actually hook that on? We want M23, so now we're going to grab our M tree. So while I'm looking for my M pieces, let's see, M23, and we want 3 of them. So they're showing a little spot right here, right in there, right there, where we're going to put a third one, where both cables are going to go through. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. So, M23. Okay, it's all 3 of these guys. And see, we still have one little piece there left on this tree, and we've got a little cap. I already know that one's garbage. We don't have. Not going to use that. But this one, I'm not sure, so I'm going to leave that. I think my other M tree, because we have 2 M trees. Yeah, so we have one of those little anchor guys. Those are like, you know, on the real life tank, you got these loops for when they put a hook through to lift, like the, you know, when they're generally assembling it with the cranes and stuff like that. They use these little hook points. That's the only thing left on this tree. I don't think I'm going to use it, but just in case, I don't know for sure. All right. So we have our little anchors for the chain, or cable. Sorry, I keep calling it chain. So let's see if we can get this one in the position it's supposed to be, with our guy sitting like this, and then he goes up like that. And then he's going to have a bend in him, something like this, in order to get him across there. Kind of like that, a little bit better than this one. So I'm going to unbend this guy. Have him just a little bit more natural of a bend, I think. Something like this. A little more natural. And I need to twist it. I wonder how good it is to twist this cable. If it will stay. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. The trick is going to be convincing these two to stay in this little spot. I'm tempted to use a little bit of tape just to hold them down while I glue the little anchor on. I just might do that, just run a little piece of tape over here just to keep them in this little channel so that they behave properly. And I hate how loose our little, I think this is a radiator across here, this piece that sticks up. I think it's supposed to be a radiator, and it's loose, and I don't like that. There's only two little anchor points, and that makes it kind of loose, and I don't like the looseness. So, anyway, let's get a little piece of tape. It's actually, just make it a little thinner. Okay, so we need to go underneath, and I want you right about there, and you right about there, which means you can do like that. There. Now I can still slide through there and get a little bit of play on these, that's fine, but they're holding them there so that when I want to put the little anchor here, it's going to be a lot easier to actually anchor it. So, yes, that's my theory anyway. Don't hold me to it, but that's my attempt. Okay, so let's grab our first hook or anchor, whatever you want to call them, and attempt to put some glue on. And glue one of these guys down. Apparently I dropped it and didn't even realize I dropped it. So we get to deal with now 2 parts instead of 3. So that's what we're going to do. We have 3 now, or we have 2. So try this again with our 1 anchor. And hopefully that holds when I let go. Seems to be okay. See, as long as you don't move it too much, you're usually pretty good. So what I think I'm going to wind up doing, since I lost one of the hooks, I have no clue where it went. I don't know if I dropped it in the tank. I didn't hear it fall. I just went to put it on and it's suddenly not in my tweezers anymore. So, yeah. And it's not on my table, it's not on my book, it's not on the carpet, it is just gone. So which means I can put the other one on this side, but that's it. Now this one's a little too long on here, so I'm going to pull this back if I can. And then hold it again. Okay. It's going to go like that. Okay. So, put this one up. Glue. I think I got it in the spot it needs to be. It's hard to tell because of my big fingers. I believe it is. Yay, there we go. All right, so our 2 anchors are anchored at each end. And so now what to do about this one. I'm going to check my other M tree and see if I do have a spare. I'm hoping I have a spare, but I don't think I do. No, both my M trees are empty of the 23s. So that's it. That's done. So what to do, what to do? What I could do, I could fake it. I could fake it and just glue them down in that spot, or I could just leave them. That's an option too, right? Because now that these are on, that's it for the back of this, at least for now. We've got 2 mirrors to put on. Those are D, 9, and 10. So now I gotta grab my D. If I can find my D. There's my D. So we got 2 mirrors. Extra little nubs for no reason. Mirror number 1, mirror number 2. And that's it. And I'm done with my D tree. So I'll just clean up the nubs on this, because the mirrors are nice and clean. We want these nice and clean. Oh, planes are active this morning. Okay. Good enough? All right. So depending on where these are located on the tank, going to depend on whether I want them painted the duck egg green or the Russian green. So now that these are cleaned up, let's see where they go. They go into a little spot on the front fender, for lack of a better term. It doesn't seem to be a designated thing. They go on the top here. No, they go on the bottom. But where? Oh, you know what? They go on the actual skirting. That's this little spot, this little thing here. The mirror's going to sit like this. Doink. It's going to sit like doink. So, let's take a look. This is going to go on like this, right there. And so we've got a nice light green pattern for this guy. So this guy's going to be duck egg green. Okay. This other guy, we'll put this on here. He's also, so they're both duck egg green. Perfect. So, I'm not going to spray paint them. I'm just gonna brush paint them. I'm going to cheat just a little bit. And I actually still got a little bit of paint in my cup here. I could just dip my brush in that. Probably get away with it. I'll have to apply a couple of coats, but that's okay. Now, would it look nicer if I spray painted? Of course. But it's just a mirror, so calm down. It's not, doesn't have to be perfect. I do have to clean my brush now. So I gotta get some water and clean this off. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the nature of the mirrors is they go on last, right? They're one of the more delicate things. It's like these little guards for the tail lights here and here. I've broken those off now like 4 or 5 times in the course of this build because I was stupid enough to put them on and not wait until it was all done. Okay, so the next thing is our little grill at the back. But I do kind of want to, so these have to go in behind it. And this should go down in there, like this. And they should stay put. It's where they belong. This guy, this is that little grill. And he goes on to these 4 guys here. And if I have them lined up properly, he will line up on those little notches. He's got little grooves on there. These things all line up on. If I've got them lined up properly, it will fit just perfectly. And it will. But what do I want to do here? The cable is not going to be a super shiny, bright, metallic thing, right? So it needs to be more of a kind of a medium / dark gray. How about a neutral gray? That's more realistic to the color of the cable. And then we can maybe do a little bit of a dark rust because, well, that's how they are, right? So let's start by adding, even though I shook it, the paint didn't mix very well. Let's start with start off with a nice neutral gray color. A future me would say, hey, paint the cable before you attach it to the tank. That's what future me would tell myself. But time travel isn't a thing, so I don't get to warn myself of my problems. Okay, one cable painted. I'm curious if YouTube is going to pick up on this song. This song is by a couple of guys who call themselves Two Cellos, if you've heard of them. They play the cello, obviously, but they play like, this happens to be AC/DC Thunderstruck, played on 2 cellos. And I think it's pretty cool. The 3-dimensional nature of the cables is you gotta get all the way around in every possible spot, which again, I didn't even think about it until I actually started. Oh, I gotta paint these things. Had I thought of that, hindsight being 2020, I would have painted these things when they were off the tank. And of course, now that they're on here, I don't want to move them around too much. So let's just live and learn. Hard to believe that song was played on cellos. All right. Cable is now gray. We got gray cables now, guys. Still finding all the spots where I've missed. It's just another reason why you should paint your cables before you put them on the tank. Okay? Learn from my mistakes. Paint them before you put them on. Okay, there we go. So we are gray. And more another spot I missed. Every time I turn this thing around, there's a spot that I missed. Okay, good enough. Let me clean these up. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so what I want to do now with the cables is make them a little bit rusty. So what I want to use, I think this will work. This is a light rust color, Vallejo Panzer Aces. I'm going to kind of dilute it and sort of turn it into a wash, I think. Anyway, I do have like a rust wash. It's just super thin. But I will just thin this out. Nice and thin. So. A little bit of water. Could I use an actual thinning agent? Sure, I could. And it would work just as well, and it wouldn't thin it out. But I kind of want to have this just like a wash almost. I want it super thin to just kind of wash over the cable. Just to give a little bit of a little bit. I don't want a fully rusty cable, but a little bit. I could come over with a dark rust just to make it a little more interesting. And that would work too. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's good enough. We got the illusion of a nice rust. Now I do have a darker rust. I think I can add that. And just add it to that, and then just pull the paint from that little spot. See how it just mixes in? It's like it just gets absorbed into there. But this way I can get a bit of a darker color. Even still, it's not quite dark enough. I just want to add a couple of spots of dark. Here or there. Just to add a little bit of difference in a spot or 2 or 5, just so that it's not a constant thing. It looks more realistic, because when you see realistic things, it's not all just one perfect color, right? So yeah. Okay, so the painting of the cables is done. I'm just going to clean this up. Okay. With the cables painted now, I'm going to lay them back down in where they're supposed to go. Like that. You get back down in here. All tucked in behind where they're supposed to go. Like that. So the big question is, do I glue them down? If I glue them down, that'll give more of an impression of them actually being heavy. I don't have to glue them. Now that they're painted, I can just leave them, right? And I think I might do that. I think I am going to just glue them. I'll just put a drop of CA glue on them and just leave it be. I think it's going to be my best bet. I'll just kind of put it in the middle on them. Right there, and just leave it. Now with those on there, I can glue this on. I have to detach my painted mirror. Now I can glue this on. And as I stated before, it goes on these four guys here, like that. So, we're going to put glue on this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Hopefully it all lines up nice. It did. Lined up pretty good. Now it's got to go vertical. And it's hanging perfect. Just like that. Just like that, guys. You can see it on there, right here. Hanging perfectly vertical. Just like it's supposed to. I love that. I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so that finishes off this page. Except for the mirrors, of course, but we're going to do the mirrors last. And I'm going to still have to do a couple more coats of paint on them. So, that's done there. So we flip the page. What else do we have to do? We have the whole turret thing. And the whole turret, the turret's complete. The turret is done. More turret, more turret. Done, done, done. Everything's done. Thank you, Clean. Next, we have the mine cleaning system. The mine cleaning system, yes. Yes, that fun little guy. That was a bunch of complicated parts done twice. It's going to be like that. It's going to sit on the front of this thing. It connects right under here, here and here. Okay, so let's take her off the alligator clip. This guy, see this little pad? That's going to go on right there, just like that. Okay, now, do I want this super delicate piece on my tank while I'm trying to put mud on it? I do and I don't. I think it's See, I don't want it on there because it is delicate, but I do want it on there for when I put the mud on, so it's realistic. And I got realistic mud pattern, splatter, whatever. So I do need to actually install these for realism, for science. Okay, so you got 2 pages of assembly on these guys and where they actually go. We also have these extra pieces here. Okay, it's 1 and 2. Okay, so they all go together. And they all go on the front, and they all go on that little spot there. So let's tip her upside down. I still don't know why I have grease on the front of my tank, but whatever. So this guy is going to go on this side. And so we can put some glue on him. There's only one mounting point. It's kind of funny. Looking at the front of the tank, if you don't put these on, it looks like you've got Lego blocks on the front of the tank. Now these guys, how do these guys go? It looks like they go towards the... There's only one mounting point yet. It's actually 1 row plus 1 dot. A row plus a dot. But does it go towards the outside or the inside? It's got to be towards the outside. And then line up like that. Like so. Okay. I want to make sure it's actually connected properly. Yep. Okay. And one last one. Just like that. And there we go. So, we have our mine cleaning system for the rear. We have to assemble that, and I have to paint that. I haven't done that yet. Well, how about that? Bingo. So, I can either have, remember that one piece? Do you guys remember on the video when I was looking at this one spot on the back here? And there was that one little piece that looks like it would go on there? Well, it's here. If I want to do no minesweeping system at all, mine cleaning, sorry, no, I keep on calling it Minesweeper. It's Minesweeper from what, like Windows 98? Whatever the heck. Anyway, it was one piece on the tree that I was thinking that looks like it would go right there, but I'd left it. And it's a good thing because I've added the mine cleaner, and I need to assemble this little bit here off of the pea tree. Pea tree. Where's my pea tree? There's my pea tree. Well, a bunch of little parts on here. So I don't want to accidentally bump this thing, so I'm just going to move you back here where you're going to be safe while I assemble these. So P 36, 37, 39, 40, and 43. Here's 40. $36. $39 is right here. I do need 37. 37, where did you go? There you are. 43. There we go. Okay, let's put her together for next time. Okay, we are clean, I think. So they want number 39 and 36 going together, and they go together like this, and that. Number 36 wants to go to the abyss, it appears. Hook together like that. They don't say not to glue it, so I have to assume they want it glued. Okay, so those are glued, and we want this guy. Put those down, and we assemble these guys. We get our two main pieces here, like so. So what I'm going to have to do is put some glue here. And then on the little small end, we put this guy in this direction, going like that. Just like that. And then it's facing like this. This goes on. Where? On the side of it. Okay. That little guy. Nice and delicate. Just like we want, just like everything else on this kit. Everything's super delicate. And I have it backwards. That's always nice to know. Good thing the glue hasn't set quite yet. Now with that sort of kind of glued together, I can glue it properly. So it will be all one piece. There we go. So there's our mine cleaning system for the back. Now the color they want this is the same as the front, and I completely forgot about this piece, and so I need to paint this. But I need to let this glue dry first. That would be the smart thing to do. So while this is drying, I'm just going to put that here for now. And we're going to take a look at what's next, if anything. So anything else? No, put the turret on it and that's it. So that's it for assembly, as far as the book goes. Okay, so the book I'm done. And that tells me I have a couple of little things to paint, and then it's time for dirt. Time to make it dirty, because she's going to be a dirty girl. We like dirty girls, right? No, not really. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to end that here, okay? And then on my next video, part 11, we're going to get into adding some mud. Now normally, I know that normally on my builds, at this point I would kind of call it done, because the rest of it is just paint and paint effects, right? But this time around, I will do that. Now this is what's going to be the tricky part. This is tight. It's so tight, I hate it. So I need to add more grease there. But I'm not going to bother until I'm ready to actually put the turret on for good. But there you guys get a decent, at least you get a decent idea of what it's going to look like. Where's my missile launchers? My missile launchers. We have strategically placed missile launchers. Is that a good Russian accent? That. We've got our missile launchers on there. And then it goes on like this. Kind of sits in there like that. There we go. Gun. Whoop. Gun goes up. There we go. Yeah. That's kind of how it's looking, guys. This has to go on the back here. This is just literally going to be sticking off the back like that. Doink. I'm going to paint this the same color as this. Yeah. And then mud. Mud's going to be next. Okay, guys? So I'm going to leave it at there for now. I think this is enough for today. And if you guys have made it this far in the video, why not hit that like button and hit that subscribe button over there? That would be really awesome. Check out the description box. In there, I'm going to put my links to my Twitch account, where you can go on Twitch and you can follow me on there, and then you can talk to me live when I'm recording these things live. You can go on my Instagram and you can see some still pictures of past builds that I've done, and you can even go on my Twitter and say and look at, oh look, he announces every time he uploads a YouTube video. That's all my Twitter is. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to leave it for that today, guys, and that's going to be it. And yeah, so in a few days, we're going to get to doing some mud. Yeah, get dirty. Okay, so thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.